Okay, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Courtney Carlson, and I'm talking about emotional health and healing after childhood trauma and abuse. And this can really look different ways. My personal experience was at a narcissistic, alcoholic, abusive stepfather who tended to rage. So I learned to walk on eggshells around him and not set him off because I wanted to feel safe. And my mom is a codependent enabler and has borderline personality disorder. And her thing was to kind of fawn over the men and enable the men in our lives, regardless of how they behaved. Oftentimes telling me that I was wrong and that if I did XYZ differently, then they wouldn't have raged at me. And you can already see where there was a lot of like chaos and trauma in this dynamic in our lives and our family. And no one really stepped in because it was all behind the scenes, because we would fight in the car. And then I never really said this on here, but we would fight in the car, or abuse would be happening at home. We'd get in the car and we'd show up at the barbecue, and all of a sudden it would be like put on smiles and faces, and we're like a happy family. And it was all a facade and a lie, and because I knew what was going on behind the scenes. And so, if you can relate to any of this, and it doesn't have to be your story specifically, but I've gone through a 24-year emotional health and physical health journey from what I've experienced. And I can kind of all wrap it up in a few categories. First of all, your body is going to store trauma that you've been through. Your brain and your mindset, your thought processes are going to be looping around thoughts that you had as a child until you deal with them. And then your emotions or your heart wounds are going to be deep cutting and seeped in not feeling like you're enough, feeling worthless, feeling unloved, unwanted, unchosen. And so I kind of approach emotional health and healing. I call it that. It's really healing from trauma and abuse, and it's really stepping into self empowerment. But I look at those three veins. I look at the emotions, the mental side of it, and then the body aspect of it. And they really all need to be addressed. And if you're a Christian like me, then really that spiritual aspect of it too, of bringing God into all of these categories and allowing Him to heal those places. I've experienced where He has rewired parts of my brain. He's helped me with thoughts. He's helped me with heart wounds and healing emotional trauma, and then physically helped release shame and trauma out of my body. So I think God is so near and so close to our healing process and our journey, if you're willing to let him into that, like I was. But I was in so much pain, and I didn't want to live like that anymore. I knew that my heart wounds, my thought processes were seeping out onto my children and my work life, and they were keeping me from goodness and from feeling happy and from loving my life and from having a voice. I mean, they were just this huge wall in front of me that it was hard to not acknowledge it. I had to. I don't know if I became Texan there. Let's leave that back out. Um, I'm from Colorado, not Texas, but that anyway. I had to address these things in my life, and they've been a big part of my life because I just was awful. Anyway, I digress. My life was just awful without them. So if you are like, hey girl, that is also me, then I want you to write those three categories down: emotions, thoughts, and body work. And there are a lot of people that can help you with this. But I'll give you kind of three quick tips, and one in each of those categories. So let's start with the thoughts and the mind. First of all, you have to become aware of the thoughts that you're having. So I always tell my clients and my students to get a piece of paper and write down 50, yes, 50 beliefs that you have in a certain category. And you can choose whatever category you want. And you can also write out all the beliefs in every category. So categories meaning, what do you believe about money? What do you believe about God? What do you believe about your body, about moms, about dads, about careers, about being okay and having a good life. What do you believe about the church? What do you believe about your parents? What do you believe? Okay. And so I want you to write 50, because at first you're going to start surface level and you're going to say, I believe this and this and this. And as you get closer to like belief 30 to 50, that's the deep subconscious beliefs that you really carry. So you could probably get rid of the 30 before that and just focus in on that 30 to 50 bar. And you're going to realize the deep thoughts that you keep perpetuating in your life. Okay. When you find them, I want you to choose one that you're going to try to rework. And what I mean by that is you're going to notice and become aware every time that you think that. So let's say you think, oh, I'm so stupid every time you mess up. All right. You're going to become aware. So you mess up and you say, oh, I'm so stupid. And then you notice and you stop and you go, oh, I just said that again. Okay. And then the next time, and you notice and you notice and you notice. Okay. And then the process is you notice that thought and you bring in an additional thought. So you go, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Why am I doing this? Okay, wait. Maybe I'm not stupid. It's just a mistake, or whatever you're going to believe. Okay. And do you see? So you're not really just like white knuckling, like, stop thinking that. You're like, okay, I'm so stupid. Oh, wait, maybe I'm not. It's okay. And you're going to do that process every time you say I'm stupid. You're going to bring in the other belief. Okay. I'm showing you like this. And before long, you're going to have like an equal balance of I'm so stupid. Oh, wait, oh, wait. Okay. Maybe I'm not. I'm just making a mistake. And what you're doing is you're practically rewiring your brain, and you are exchanging the old belief for the new belief. So the new belief, hopefully, if you do this repetition enough, will start to take over. Instead of you stopping and saying, I'm stupid, you're going to make a mistake and you're going to go, okay, maybe I'm not stupid. I just made a mistake. That's your new belief. And then you're going to keep replacing it with a better one and a better one and a better one. You're going to say, mistakes are human. I'm human. And you're going to release yourself from some of that shame. And you're going to say, okay, I'm human. I'm doing things. And you're going to learn to, like, maybe I celebrate mistakes because I'm doing something in life. If I wasn't, if I was just on the couch watching TV, I wouldn't make mistakes, right? So you're going to keep replacing each one of those beliefs through this process of noticing, bringing in a new belief, and then hopefully fading away that old belief. You're like, nope, I got this. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not stupid. Okay. Second category, if we think, I'm going to move to emotions. Now, emotions and our thoughts are wired together. So if you have a thought, it's going to create an emotion. If you have an emotion, it's going to create a thought. They are really like this cycle and this loop, which can work to your advantage. So let's say you are in that thought of like, God, I'm so stupid. Well, what do you feel about yourself? You probably feel worthless, inadequate, not good enough, all of those things. So in bringing in that new thought, you actually get to rewire your emotions as well. So let's say I'm so stupid. Okay, wait, hold on. Maybe I'm not stupid. I just made a mistake. My process is to stop. You put your hands on your heart. I learned this from someone, so I didn't make this up, but I always have to give them credit. But you close your eyes, and then you have to become aware of the emotions, be willing to feel them in order to uno reverse them and feel something else. So you're going to stop. You're going to say, man, I feel dumb. I feel stupid. I feel worthless. I feel like I can't get anything right. You're going to name it. You're going to say it out loud. You're going to let those feelings bottle up. Maybe you rage. Maybe you cry. Maybe you need a hug, whatever. You're going to stay with yourself. You're going to start to talk to yourself. Okay, I'm not stupid. I just made a mistake. It's okay. We call that reparenting, by the way. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but reparenting is just bringing in that soothing, gentle parenting that you needed. So you're not stupid. You just made a mistake. Okay. And really, you're going to kind of like combat everything that you're feeling in order to create a new feeling. Okay. It's super easy. Watch. So you're going to say, actually, I'm not stupid. I just made a mistake. And you know what? You are never worthless to me. I care about you. I love you. I don't think you're inadequate just because you made a mistake. I think you're human, right? And you're going to start bringing in that softness. That is going to create connection in you, and that is going to bring you feelings of worthiness. You're going to hear yourself connect with love. You're going to bring in gentleness. You're going to feel known and seen and heard and chosen and taken care of. That's the emotion part. Okay. So try to do those this week together. Let me know in the comments if you need help with that. And then the body part is super easy as well. You just have to silence the mind a little bit and connect with what's going on in your body. So again, you can put your hand on your heart, you can put your hand on your stomach. You're going to silence your conscious mind and what you're thinking, and you're going to try to connect to, where is this pain? Where is this emotion being stored in my body? And if you can't tell right away, you're going to do a little bit of a body scan. So you're going to start at the top and you're going to kind of move down. Do you feel any tension or aching or energy or soreness or sadness? And you're going to move down all the way to your toes. And you're going to notice where your body's keeping this. So when I'm stressed, I hold in my stomach and my intestines because it's like a safety. And so I've had to learn to like really bring in safety into my body and to release my stomach, release that tension, and relax. And that communicates, I'm safe now. So now we're bringing in the body portion of, actually, you don't have to be tight. You can relax. You can loosen up a little bit, right? Okay, we're going to start focusing on that body part. So things you can do, you can rub it, you can squeeze it, you can add some energy, you can stretch it, you can move it. I don't know what body part you are. The other day I told a client to do this, to like get out intense emotions can come through your hands like this. She was really angry. And she had bottled up anger for so long that I was like, release it, let it out. So you can wave your hands, you can stomp your feet, whatever, roll your neck. I mean, really pay attention to, where do you store trauma, abuse, stress, all the things in your body. Okay. I'm noticing that this video is kind of long, so hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to post it anyway. Try to pay attention to those 3 categories. Let me know in the comments or email me if you are like, I need help with this. I would love to help you, and I'll see you in the next video.